it's kind of ridiculous, but it's kind of not. It's Donald Trump. Donald Trump, y'all's president, some of y'all's president. He ain't looking good these days. The more time that he spends on the campaign trail, uh, the worse he seems. He's always been like a rambler on the campaign trail. He's always been somebody who isn't precise or interesting as an orator, right? He ain't captivating. He's effective, but he ain't captivating. But what Donald Trump has been doing lately is getting more and more bizarre. He talks longer, he makes less sense, he says more ridiculous things, he tells more extravagant lies. Now, yesterday was maybe the worst time I've ever seen Donald Trump have on a stage. He was in Detroit and he was addressing the National Guard convention. That's a home game. Those are his folk. Those are his people. And the man couldn't get his words out. Now, there have been questions about why, but before I get to the why of it, I want you to see this for yourself. Ask yourself, why would Donald Trump look and sound like this?
My opponent, Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz are promising the exact opposite. They want endless war, open borders, voting rights, and free health care for illegal aliens, Soviet-style price controls, censorship, unlimited migration from terrorist hotspots, and unchecked power for the deep state. This fight is no longer between Democrats and Republicans. This is a fight between communism and freedom. My opponent, Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz.
Listen to this part one more
are
time.
promising the exact opposite. They want endless war, open borders, voting rights, and free health care for illegal aliens.
So there's a few things here. By the way, you notice he started saying her name right, which for some of y'all isn't a big deal. For me, it's an interesting strategy. You know, initially it was let's say her name wrong on purpose to get the left outraged so the right can be mad at the left, or really so that racists can be mad at the black people defending. But that's another story for another time. Donald Trump looked out of sorts, particularly the top. A lot of people on social media ask the question, is Donald Trump high? Is Donald Trump drunk? Does Donald Trump need medical attention? Now, let me say this first. I'm not a doctor. So I don't know what Donald Trump has a medical condition or not. Just like I don't know what Joe Biden had as a medical condition or not. But I'll say this in response to the people, not me, but the people who say Donald Trump looked high and drunk and or out of sorts. I know lots of cocaine users. I worked in TV. I worked in entertainment. Never used it a day in my life, so I can only speak from the outside. But Donald Trump's behavior, his sweating, his rambles, his moods are very consistent with folk who use cocaine or people who take what they call Diet Coke or Adderall. Some of Trump's insiders, some of Trump's former staffers have said that he uses that particular drug a lot. Other people think he's just not mentally stable. That Donald Trump is not mentally stable. I find this interesting how mainstream media talks about this and how the mainstream audiences deal with this. Let's say, for example, hypothetically, that Donald Trump is losing it right now, that he's not mentally well. Why is that the breaking point for you? The man has called to build walls around the country. He has led public health policy that has killed hundreds of thousands of people. He has trampled on the rights of LGBTQ plus folk. He has led the charge to dismantle any kind of Supreme Court protections or constitutional protections vis-a-vis stuffing the Supreme Court with right-wing ideologues. He has undermined rule of law. He has done all of these things, and people are like, yeah, but you know what? He might be on coke. So if he's on coke, then we've had enough. Or he's taking them Adderall pills too much. That's no better time. He was president for 4 years. We've seen the consequences of a Trump presidency. Why is this the bar? It's just a fascinating thing. I'm not prudish around drugs. I'm not prudish around mental health. To me, his public policy is enough, but it's weird that the Democrats are now using this as a talking point. And it's a fascinating talking point because they spent so much time defending Joe Biden. Now, there is a really interesting argument to be made that, if Joe Biden was not mentally well to be president, why the hell did you think Donald Trump was? If Joe Biden was too old to be president, why the hell would you think Donald Trump was? But it seems as if the only person who was being called to step down because they weren't mentally fit or physically capable of being president was Joe Biden. The truth is, Joe Biden absolutely did not deserve to be president anymore. He was not healthy. But Donald Trump ain't healthy either. There's nothing about Donald Trump that says well or healthy. So to me, that's the real question. Why is Trump why is he not held to the same scrutiny? That's all I'm saying. And then another thing, a lot of what y'all are hearing, this is a petty minor point, but I just got to say it. The main reason Donald Trump sounds slurred is not because he's on drugs, although he could be. I can't say for sure. The main reason he sounds like that is because he wears dentures. And for whatever reason, whatever dentures he uses don't stay in his head very well. His dentures be falling out worse than Joe Biden. Both of them have dentures and they fall out. So when you hear Donald Trump talking, that's why I told you I played the topic in. When you listen to Joe Biden talking or when you listen to Donald Trump talking now, what you hear is an old man with dentures. And lots of old men with dentures sound like the teeth are falling out of their head. Why? Because their teeth is falling out of their head. All right.